Welcome to Experience Army Medicine Interviews. Our mission is to interview local medical professionals within the Army so they can detail their impact in medicine today.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me today. My name is Colonel Nathan Friedline. I'm an emergency physician in the U.S. Army. I think the reasons for joining the service is multifactorial for a lot of people, and for me, it certainly was. There was a lot of reasons. I had a family tradition. Both my dad, my uncles, my grandfather all served, and I really saw that as a path for myself as well. I felt a duty to patriotism, to my nation, to service, and I answered that calling. I was an undergraduate at Virginia Military Institute, and I decided entering my senior year of college that I wanted to go into medical school. And so I doubled up on all the classes. I took over 21 credit hours a semester that year, and I still had a couple more classes to accomplish that I did after graduating. So I spent 2 years after graduating in the year 2000 working as a bench chemist and then a medic on the nights and weekends and volunteering in the emergency department, in addition to studying for the MCAT and taking the additional prerequisites. A day in the life in the Army for me is hard to quantify because every day is different. There's truly a diversity of actions that occur. That's one thing that I really do like about it. It's not the drudgery. It's not the same old, same old. Every day there's a new mission. Every day there's something new and exciting. There's a plethora of training opportunities for you, and there's something for everyone. If you want to be an academic, you can be an academic. If you want to be an operational medicine provider, then there's certainly quite a few opportunities there amongst the conventional and the special operations realm. There's undersea, there's aviation, there's flight surgery, wilderness medicine. There's schools across the board that one can choose from and become an expert in that field and then contribute and give back to the environment. There's specific skill sets across all those domains that are hugely valuable in those austere environments. And as you look at austere environments, I guess parts of Afghanistan are not all that different than parts of the Utah wilderness. Oftentimes we take for granted all the things that are done for us in a trauma center. Things just happen. There's people for every task. When you're in that austere environment and you're the provider and you're the one that's standing between that person and death or a bad outcome, then it's becoming upon you to know exactly what the medics were doing in that trauma center, or the nursing staff were doing in that trauma center, and the holistic care that was provided. There are many, many facets to that are often overlooked. And that's what I often talk to my residents about when I was in a training program. Good medicine in bad places is really hard to provide. And that's one of the things that I really love about the Army, though. You are afforded certain challenges in the training to overcome those challenges. I started medical school in 2002, and I went into a different residency before I did emergency medicine. I've largely been fully operational since 2012 after my educational training. But at every level, you find people that are particularly interested in you and your career, and vice versa. There's leadership at every level, and one needs to lead up and they need to lead down. I've had many mentors throughout my career, but in a time of need, there was always someone there. An organization as large as that, really, it's hard to have a talent management program that is expansive, but there are people that care at every level. And there are people that are invested in others at every level. In the absence of mentorship, one does not achieve as great as they could. Mentorship is exceedingly valuable. Now, it's a two-way street. It's often been said that you don't choose your mentor chooses you. But I do think that it's a two-way street, and you have to be engaged. If you're not getting what you want out of an organization, don't take no for an answer. Pursue it. Well, there's been a lot of cool experiences. And the Army's given me everything that I really wanted. I wanted to do all the fun schools. I never did get a chance to go to a Ranger school, but that was a big ask with the operational demands. I think the most rewarding thing that I've done, though, is really working with allies and partners, building them up, meeting them where they are, and then improving upon the goals that they were pursuing. I've attended NATO summits, and I got to be honest, that was a hugely valuable experience for me, because it's easy to question what you're doing if you don't see the end results. So when you're in a operationally demanding career, you don't have all the time that you would like, but we've made our time together as a family very intentional. And the time that we do have together, we control and we invest in one another. And I think that's been hugely beneficial. Time away makes the heart grow fond. And for us, that's worked very, very well. My two girls are in college now, but they look back on their Army careers growing up, following me around with fondness. And I do think that that's portended great success for them. That's helped them be adaptable in new environments and make friends at new schools. And through that experience, I think they've grown tremendously in ways that they wouldn't have otherwise. They've come to rely upon themselves as saying, hey, I've been successful before. I know that I can do this again. And that's built a lot of self-confidence. For duty stations, my family, they call it the Army's best kept secret, but Fort Drum, New York. Uh, and, and I'll caveat that by saying we had 2 acres of land and we lived just off base. And my kids were young at the time. And it's sometimes the things that you don't really see coming that can be the greatest surprise. Well, we had fox and deer and all kinds of wildlife in our yard, and we got tons and tons of snow. And they made tunnels, and for that, totally unrelated to the Army, completely. But we would have never been in that location. We would have never had that experience if I didn't answer that call and sign on for active duty. So I think that's one of the things that they would say as their fondest memories during those pivotal, impressionable years of childhood. Every location that I've been to throughout my career is a place that I wouldn't have just picked up and moved to. But there was a unique blessing in it, in every one of them that frankly took me by surprise that I wasn't anticipating. There was a place that I was supposed to be, a when and a where, to do something good, that I wouldn't have been there otherwise if I weren't in the military. I mentioned Fort Drum for my children. Fort Drum was a pivotal experience for me too. I wouldn't go so far as to say that it was my favorite. However, there are unique lessons that one learns through sacrifice. Sacrifice builds you in ways that you could never imagine. And I think I had a lot of growth. I was a commander of a forward resuscitative surgical detachment, and I took command in April of 2020, deployed the team in June of 2020. And right then is when COVID was hitting. And so a lot of the resources that we had had previously were no longer there. The shutdowns were occurring. That could result in one of two things: breaking apart a team and making it feel like it's an impossible situation, or bringing a team together and realizing that if you don't rely upon one another, you're not going to make it. And I was very fortunate to have a wonderful team, 19 other individuals that all bound together, found a way, worked together, trained together, anticipated one another's actions. And we provided trauma level 1 care in an austere environment that was despite all the odds. But it was teamwork. And it was a situation that no one person was more valuable than another. It was a flattened organization. Everyone had a voice. Everyone had a say-so and a veto power. And I think that is the only way to be truly successful in that type of environment. And I don't see many organizations that are truly capable of that. But at every level, there are people that want to do the next right thing. At every level, there are people that are trying to do the best that they can for those above and below them, those allies and partners they're supporting. Well, I think it's important to point out what is the DoD and what is the Army and what is our ultimate mission. So the Army's mission is to fight and win the nation's wars, but across the instruments of national power, military should be the last option. We're not a warmongering society. We don't want war. We don't want violence or conflict. We want, peace through self-determination and not violence. Sovereignty issues should not be solved by invasions. We are an option for the president to use, should it become necessary, but diplomacy, information, economic, other avenues should really be formed long before the military is chosen as that action arm. So our job is to be prepared. Our job is to be ready, and when the call is issued, we answer the call and we follow those orders. We don't want war. And an unfortunate fact is, as JFK once said, through the preparation of war, we can prevent it.
Thank you for listening in on our Experience Army Medicine interviews. We hope that these interviews help encourage your own path into a healthcare career. If you enjoyed the interview, please don't forget to like, follow, and share our content as we continue to dive deeper into Army medicine. Be all you can be Army medicine.